was invited as a media guest at TORG, which basically means, you know, I'm going to be capturing footage everywhere about the event. And this being my first ever video game convention, you know, I'm overwhelmed. There's a lot here, a lot here, a lot here, a lot here. There's so many vendors. There's so much happening on the floor. I didn't even know where to start. So I picked up like bits of here, bits of there, you know, costume contest here. Oh, there's an arcade here. There was just a lot to take in. And being my first time, you know, I don't know what to do. I'm not like one of those people that's a professional whenever it comes to like, you know, videography with like conventions and stuff. I'm at my house making videos, you know, with my little phone. So that's what I'm used to. I'm not used to like jumbles of people around me. I've been to one convention and that was a Comic-Con. It was a lot smaller than TORG was. I mean, at TORG, I'm talking was like huge. But I think that as I go to conventions, I'll get a little bit more accustomed to how things are, and I'll have like a list of stuff that I want to do. I kind of had a mindset of what I wanted to do as far as like footage. I definitely wanted to capture, you know, whenever I was looking for games, you know, like I did at the last convention. I had things in my mind that I wanted to do, like I wanted to do like a, you know, a game challenge with my buddy DMC. I forgot about that. I wanted to ask people what their favorite PlayStation 1 game was. I forgot to do that. It was because I had so many things on my brain and like so many people, you know, wanted to talk to me and everything. I just forgot everything. Game hunting was on my mind too. It's like PlayStation, PlayStation, PlayStation. I wanted to find that filler. I had to find it. And, you know, funny thing is, I only found 4 sports titles at TORG that I needed for my collection, which is still a great thing. You know, at least I found stuff on my list, but I found stuff that I didn't have that was not on my list too, which is awesome to add to my collection. You know, because I figured that I would be able to find sports titles because not a lot of people, you know, go after those. So I'm like, hey, you might get some wheeling and dealing going. But funny thing is, I didn't see a lot of those, I guess, at vendors' tables because they probably can't push them out too much, because who's going for a complete set of PlayStation 1 or any, you know, whenever it comes to like complete sets of stuff. Not a lot of people do that, so sports titles don't really, you know, fly off the shelves, so I can understand why they don't really have them in their inventory. That's my guess. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not a vendor. You tell me. I don't know. But, you know, I made so many memories. I met so many people. Like, you know, during the convention, you know, I saw 1 or 2 people that I knew. And my buddy DMC, of course, I knew he was going to TORG. So we got to hang out a little bit, you know, talk games. We actually got to hang out a little bit before TORG and just chill, you know, have a drink. And then, you know, just kick back and talk stuff, you know, talk about our trip, how it was there and things like that. But it was just awesome just to like go around with him for like the last half of whenever I was there, just to go game hunting with a fellow friend that is a big enthusiast about video games like myself. But let's go ahead and dive into other things that I wanted to talk about. Let's actually talk about first, before I do pickups, well, I'll do pickups along the way too. I want to talk about the memories I made at this convention, because boy, let me tell you, there's some great ones. The first booth that I come up to is one of my friends that actually follows me on Twitter, is Tie-Dye Race Car. Now, he mentioned that he was going to TORG. I didn't know if I'd see him or not. And funny enough, he was one of the first booths I went up to. So we were talking, you know, about games and things like that. I was looking around at what he had, and I noticed one title that he had that I did not have. It wasn't this one. This is one of the ones that I picked up, though. I'm like, I'm trying to grab what is it? I haven't said over here, so I'm not looking that way. Well, let's start with this one. This was the last one I picked up at his booth. I only picked up 2 games. I did not have NFL Blitz, so naturally I needed it. I'm like, ooh, first sports title of the day that I needed. And, you know, he's like, you know, 13. I'm like, would you do 10? He was awesome enough to do 10, so got this for a hell of a deal. But the one that I was really excited about that I'm trying to grab, you know, aimlessly, is this one. Punky Skunk. Dude, let me tell you something about this game. I've seen it online, but I've never seen it on any, whenever it comes to retailers like DK Oldies, Lukey Games. Nobody ever has this game in stock. So when I saw this one, he wanted $35 for it. I'm like, would you do 30? He's like, yes. So we ended up doing the deal. I couldn't say no. This is in great, pristine condition. And again, thank you, man, for the deals that you gave me on these 2 games. I highly appreciate it. As a collector, you know, we always want to try to save a little bit of money here and there if we can. And it's always nice whenever vendors, you know, cut us a little bit of a deal. You know, that way they make their money and we actually get to save money too, because collecting can get expensive as hell. But this little game, I have never played before, but it always looked interesting to me. And funny enough, I just played it. So basically think of it this way. Think of Sonic, but with a little skunk. literally Punky the skunk. He's a Gen X skunk, and he's on a mission. So basically, you play as a little skunk. You're going through like your 3D platforming worlds, and it's so hilarious with like the dialogue and stuff that's in this game. It's over the top. You know, like the overworld kind of reminds me of Super Mario World. And then also, you know, like the gameplay kind of reminds me of, like I said, Sonic the Hedgehog. And you get to literally, you know, use different things like pogo sticks, rollerblades. You even get to use a little fart mechanic, which like basically makes everything stink, and everyone's like, ew. Just the faces that some of these character animations make is over the top for this game. Yes, I'm going to gush about this because this is definitely one of those games that you definitely need to check out on PlayStation 1 because not a lot of people talk about it. If you want some kind of platformer that's pretty, you know, pretty much on like the cheaper end of platforming games, I think $30 is a pretty cheap title. Let's talk about trades. I did 2 trades at TORG, and we're going to talk about my first one. Now, a pro tip, yes, I'm a novice whenever it comes to video game conventions because this is my first one, but from me to you, take stuff with you to trade. Trust me, vendors will love you for that, at least from what I see that they do. So, like I said, whenever you're going to a video game convention, stuff goes really, really quick, especially stuff in high demand. So, like, whenever their table's completely clear, what are they going to sell? So, whenever you take trades and there's stuff that isn't moving that you want, they're going to trade with you, and they're going to, that way they can continue to make money. So trades are highly encouraged whenever you go to video game conventions. So if you got doubles of something or shit that you don't play, take it with you. Now, for my first trade, I took doubles that I had. You know, I took a fantastic controller for N64 that I had a double of. Yes, I have multiple fantastic controllers that I do have. I think the fire orange one is the one that I had that's the most expensive. No, I don't have the fantastic systems, but I do the controllers. And then I took another copy that I had of Nightfire for 007 for GameCube. I took one of my toys that I had for Reboot that I had as well because it was just sitting in the closet. Reboot was such a great show, by the way. There's also a Reboot game on PlayStation 1, FYI, if you didn't know. And then a couple other things here or there. So I was looking around at the table, and there were several things that I wanted, and I didn't know if the guy was open to trades. Always ask, of course, if they're open. Of course, I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10 they're going to say yes, especially if it's stuff that they want. And the dude was pretty interested in the Reboot toy. That was one of the things, like, oh yeah! I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm glad that I took it with me because it's not doing anything for me other than just sitting here, because I mainly collect McDonald's toys and stuff like that. So anything like that, I don't really need in my collection anymore because it's just going to sit in the closet. So he was really busy, you know, trying to go through things, you know, and of course he eventually got to me. But while I was waiting, there was this guy. I did not get his name because, like I said, I'm caught up in the moment. I'm looking at games. I'm trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to feel and trying to do all this. It's like everything's happening. But you know, he saw the Reboot toy. He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, we talked about the show. Then we started going into Lord of the Rings. And then we started talking about how I like The Hobbit more than Lord of the Rings. He's like, I'm like, yes, I do like The Hobbit more than Lord of the Rings. Come at me if you want, I don't care. Even the animated Hobbit was so freaking good from Rankin and Bass. From, you know, if you know, you know. If you've seen it, you've seen it. They also did Return of the King as well, which is another great one. If you've not seen the animated version of that, you definitely should. Rankin and Bass did such great stuff. They didn't just do stop motion animation. They also did like animated like little movies and things like that, like in the 70s, 80s. So definitely check that out. We were just geeking out over that. And when the guy finally came up to me and gave me the total for my trade, you know, I had already gotten a stack of stuff picked out that I wanted to do for the trade, because there was one game specifically I'm like, okay, if I get enough for this, I'll definitely want to do the trade. That stood out to me, and I'm going to show that to you in a minute. Before the guy actually left, I'm like, you know what, man? Let me give you this. I actually had an R2-D2 like little keychain that was like a little clock keychain. It was sealed. I think it was from like the late 90s. And I'm pretty sure nobody was going to want it. So I'm like, you know, he was a Star Wars fan because we were talking about Star Wars, about how I hadn't watched the new movies, because I'm like, yeah, I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I like Star Trek more. So yes, I like Star Trek more. I'm a Trekkie. I can't help it. I like Star Trek. I grew up watching it. Thanks, Dad. Anyway, so I gave that to him. Even I love R2-D2, but again, I don't collect that stuff. I've had it in my collection for a long time. He's like, dude, that's awesome. So I gave it to him, and, you know, we were vibing because he was such a cool guy. It was such a cool experience. He was the first one I actually had a conversation with, like, for a long while, because we were waiting for a minute because, like I said, it was so busy at that booth. But it was those moments like that that make me want to go back to the convention, because it's not about the games. It's not about the trades. It's about meeting you all and about nerding out, getting games. That was the highlight of the convention for me, is these little moments that I'm going to talk about in this video. And this is why I'm making this longer video. Yeah, I show footage and stuff about the convention. You know, it's 8 minutes long, but that's not enough time to talk about what I'm talking about now. So that's why I'm doing a little bit more of a deep dive in this. I kind of wish I got more footage of the convention, but like I said, my brain was everywhere. So next time I'll make sure to capture those special moments more if I get a chance to. But you know what? I'd rather, you know, just live them than film them anyway, because they're my own and they're, you know, the other person's, and that's what matters. We were vibing, having a good time, and that's that. Now, let's get into the games. Here they are. I looked this time so that way I can see what I'm grabbing. Anyway, so the big one that I wanted was Vagrant Story. Now, this one he wanted, there's still price on it, $50. I haven't got to clean all these cases yet. I'm in the process of actually doing that. So if you don't see any price tags on that, they've already been cleaned. This one I haven't gotten to. So this one doesn't have the manual. The Vagrant Story normally goes for about $85 complete in box, or for $50. I want this in the cases in really, really good shape. The disc is great. So I'm like, yes. So that was the big one of what I wanted to trade for, and he took it. We did the deal, and I was so excited. So the other one was Buzz Lightyear, A Star Command. Now, I didn't have this one. This was actually one of the ones I was missing from the Disney titles. I have quite a few of the Disney titles already, but that one I didn't have. So he had it listed for $11, so that's a hell of a deal. I think that one normally goes for about $20. Now, whenever it comes to vendors, a lot of them, 9 times out of 10, are definitely below price charting. Because I was looking at, I didn't really, you know, have to look at stuff, because I already knew in my head about how much stuff was. I think I only had to use price charting like once while I was there. Which, you know, like I said, I know pretty much what goes for what whenever it comes to PlayStation games. Unless it's something I've never seen before, then I'm going to have to be like, okay. But these, I kind of knew what it was. So definitely was a great experience. I kind of wish I had bought more, but I'm happy with what I came away with. I think it was like a total of like 20 games that I came away with total, going from TORG to Video Game Connection. That was another little store that I went to that I actually did a little preview on. If you want to watch that video, go ahead. It's about a minute long, so it won't take much of your time if you want to watch it. That store is really cool. If you're definitely in the Cleveland, Ohio area, definitely check out Video Game Connection. The store may be small, but man, it's got a lot of rare shit that I've never seen before, and very top-notch quality stuff. Guys, so cool, so chill. Great prices along the way. Getting back to this, I get sidetracked a lot. Now, he did throw in, you know, a couple free games and stuff, so I ended up only paying $10 for the whole stack. I'm missing one of the titles that I got from him. I don't know where the hell I put it, so I don't know, but I got like 3 sports games, and then I got, you know, Vagrant Story, then Buzz Lightyear, then I got FIFA. Y'all know me with the FIFA titles, how I've been struggling for that. So this was one of the ones I had to question. I'm like, wait a minute, do I have that? I'm like, no, I don't. So I picked it up. You know, he had it listed for $5, which is good. And then NCAA Game Breaker 2000 was $5, and I didn't have that either. Most of the sports titles that he had were listed about $5, so I had most of them already, but there was 3 that I didn't, so I ended up buying 3 from his table. And then, of course, like I said, everything, like the whole stack, there was 5 games here in total. It was only $10 after the trade, so you can't beat that. From assorted booths, this next pile is going to be. So let's dive into it. So the first game that we're going to talk about is Fighter Maker. Now, I didn't have this one. It is complete in box. I paid $10 for it, and it was actually listed for $12, as you can see. But what made me get this one was the EB sticker up here. Now, I think I have 2 other ones with the EB sticker on it, Electronic Boutique. I know for sure one of them is my copy of Lunar. And I was really excited to find another one because this is so nostalgic for me. I'm not one of those people, as you all know, I'm not picky about stickers. Unless it's GameStop, I don't want that shit on there. I'm going to take that shit off. Get that stuff off of Goo Gone. Yeah, because 9 times out of 10, if it's a GameStop sticker that's been on there for a while, if it's one of the older ones, you're going to need some Goo Gone to get it off. Because trust me, that shit ain't coming off without it. Now, the newer ones that GameStop has, they peel off like a glove, so they're easier to get off. But if there's something underneath it that's the older one, then, like I said, Goo Gone, definitely use that. But that's what made me get this, was the EB sticker, because I like stickers like this. I like Blockbuster, Family Video, Movie Gallery, anything that is a testament to time, back from whenever we were younger. I love anything as a part of history for that. And I love stickers, and I don't, like I said, I'm one of those collectors that doesn't have to have it minty and fresh. It has to have a little bit of history behind it, and that means a lot to me. So that's why I got this one. Apparently this is from somebody named John. I'm not sure which. I bought a lot of stuff from this vendor, and I can't remember where his booth was. So if you're watching, man, come say hi, because I don't remember where your booth was. So sorry, like I said. This event was so full. It was like everywhere. I'm talking, there's vendors everywhere. Now, whenever you went on to like the floor, whenever it comes to like, you know, the video arcade and everything else and like the museum and stuff, it was a little bit more spaced out, but the vendor hall was packed. Like literally, you'll see like a major difference between the two, but it was still cool to have like two different areas where you can do like the free to play, where they were having LAN parties, where they were having competitions. It was such a great vibe to see all of that, you know, like all those events going on for people. It was amazing what they did with this convention. And like I said, I definitely want to go back next year. I really do. I haven't been to Ohio since I was like either 19 or 20. So going back there, you know, years later, holy crap, it's definitely changed, but I love it. It's such a great vibe there. Now getting back to the stack. We're just going to grab them all because that was the biggest one in the stack. Anyway, Lucky Luke. I got this one. Now, I knew this was going to happen. So I didn't think I had Lucky Luke, but as soon as I got home, I'm like, I have it already. It hit me in the head. I didn't think I did, but the condition of it and everything, I wasn't thinking. I'm like, oh, I don't have it. I'll grab it. Man, I do, because I picked it up a couple months ago. Whenever I went to MWO Games, they had it, and I picked up a copy. However, this is an upgrade for my copy, so it's a win-win. So now I have a double of Lucky Luke, not Lukey Games. No, I'm taking a hiatus from Lukey Games. Anyway, moving on. Tecmo World Golf. Picked that one up, and I think I paid $5 for that. Now, this one was also from John's booth. This is Grid Runner. Paid about $5 for that as well. He had it listed for $8, gave it to me for $5. Now, this is the other one that came from that trade originally. See, I thought I got a sports title, but no, it was actually this one. It was Turnabout. So, Turnabout typically goes for around $10, I think, and I got it for $5. So, it wasn't a sports title. It was this one that was with that first trade that I did. Whoopsie! I was wondering what I put. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, it was that one, because the sticker is evidence of that. And then, of course, this one, Extreme Go-Kart Racing. Now, they had that listed at 10, but the condition of the disc and stuff, I asked for 5, and they said yes, so I was able to get it for that. Now, I just played this one recently. If you want a weird racer for PlayStation 1, definitely check this one out. It's kind of different. So, basically, think about, like, your typical racers. You're going around and around the track. But with this one, you have to meet certain requirements before you can proceed to the next track. You can do time trials and things like that, but like, let's say you're doing the second actual course, you have to have a lap within like 45 seconds. If you don't get to go on to the next one. It's very strict about what it actually requires of you to beat that course in order to proceed to the next level. So, if you're glutton for punishment, definitely check out Extreme Go-Kart Racing! Second and final trade of TORG was for one item. Now, I had completely forgot that I had brought this with me to trade, and it was in the bottom of my Game Boy bag that I have. Yes, I have the Game Boy backpack. I actually bought it at a flea market, I think either last year or the year before that, for only $1 from a guy that was selling off like some of his collectibles and things like that. He was selling mainly like PS3 and then statues of things. I kind of wish I bought more from him, but I didn't. But he only said $1 for that. I'm like, hell yeah! And that bag is actually pretty sturdy, believe it or not. Yes, I would have taken my PlayStation bags with me, but here's the thing. They would not hold as much as what this Game Boy bag does. So that's why I took that instead. Yes, I'm the PlayStation girl, but hey, you gotta do what's handy whenever it comes to bags. Anyway, I completely forgot that I took this with me. And I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, wait. So I get it out and I ask the guy if he wants to trade. And he says, sure. So he was trying to figure out how much he wanted for it, because what I was going to trade for was this Berserk on the Dreamcast. Now, he had it, this is actually from Powered Up Video Games, so this is the actual guy that I traded with. He had it marked at 75, which is a fair price for Berserk. Now, this isn't really, no, yes, it does have a sticker on here. I'll get that off. That's totally fine. And the disc is in phenomenal shape. Berserk can go, like, for different prices between $50 to $100, depending on who's selling it. So I've seen it jump up and down and all around for pricing. This is a good sturdy price for Berserk. Now, what I actually had brought to trade was a DS Lite, the pearl pink one. It had the stylus. It also had the charger. It even had the little case with it that I had. Now, it also included a game as well. I can't remember what the game was. It was some off the wall. Fossil Hunter, I believe is what it was. Or Fossil Fighter. I can't remember. It was some $10 game that I've had that I didn't need. I don't really collect a lot of loose stuff for DS. So it went along with it. So he gave me a total what he can give me for it. So we ended up doing a deal for this for, drum roll please, only $20 for Berserk. So I was happy with the trade. He was happy with what he got. So definitely a win-win for my second trade at TORG. Hardball 5. I don't really have a lot of long box stuff. And my long box game is still slack-a-lacking from what I've said before. But I try to keep like my eyes open and peeled for deals on long box stuff that I don't have. And this one was one of the ones I didn't have. Yes, you can see there's a little bit of fraying on the end or whatever. But, you know, whenever you have any kind of cardboard and stuff like that, it does age, and this is what we call the ridged long box cardboard, because there's 3 different types of long boxes whenever it comes to PlayStation 1. There's flat, ridged, and there's also, you know, of course, the big long plastic cases that y'all see. Kind of think of like Sega CD or Sega Saturn, those type. So when I saw this, I'm like, okay, I don't have it. Now, and I looked at it, I'm like, ooh, it has the foam in it. Now, funny enough, I didn't know this until it was pointed out to me that apparently there are different sizes of foam inserts that you get with certain types of long boxes. I did not know that. That was actually pointed out to me by one of the community members that I'm part of, a Game Rave. Shout out to Game Rave, my buddy Jason. Part of his community, someone mentioned that. So that was a tidbit of information I thought I'd share with y'all. So the guy had a little sticky note on the back. He had it marked at $16. I'm like, it's a sports title. I wonder if he'll do it for 10. So I jumped it. That's one thing I want to tell y'all. Do not be afraid to, you know, give a price out there, because they could say, the worst they could say is no, and that's okay, because everyone has their set price in their head. Vendors are looking to get rid of stuff. They don't want to take that stuff home, so don't be afraid to ask, you know, for a fair, make it fair, a specific fair price. And I thought that $10 was fair for this, you know, considering the condition of it on the outside, and, you know, it's a sports title, so not a lot of these move, you know, only mainly for like the hardcore collectors like myself that are going for full sets, or people that are sports enthusiasts. That's typically the 2 types of categories that are going to buy this stuff. Anyway, I said, will you take 10? He said, sure. The crowd started to die down. People were starting to able to find me. You know, fans of mine that follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, they started coming up to me and saying hi. I'm like, oh, hi. You know, it was so cool to actually meet you all, talk games for a little bit. I'm so sorry that we couldn't talk longer. Maybe next time we'll get to have a little bit more conversation, and hopefully we can actually go game hunting together. I would love to do that. And I was fortunate enough to get to do that with one person. This person didn't know I was on YouTube. They didn't know I was a content creator. They just saw me as an equal nerd looking for games, on the hunt for stuff for her collection. And this was one of my favorite parts of the entire convention, was this. Now, I passed this booth once already, so I looked at the top. I didn't need anything, so I'd already had everything. Now, like I said, there's so much stuff you can miss whenever it comes to an event this size, and I missed them until my buddy DMC is like, did you see the $5 bins? I'm like, no, where? And so, like I said, we hung out at the last leg of TORG, you know, because we were able to coordinate and stuff, because we've been friends for years. You definitely should check out his footage on TORG. He actually did a longer video than I did for my first run, so definitely check out his footage. He got some great footage of TORG. So he told me about these bins. I'm like, I've been to this booth. How did I miss this? So like I said, I even missed like one of my holy grails that he caught on film. I'm like, how did you catch that? It was a Sega CDX in the box. I didn't even see that. There's so much stuff you can miss, like I said. So anyway, he pointed out the guy. I knew I'd been there before, but I didn't look down. And sure enough, there was bins of $5 stuff. I didn't know if there was going to be PlayStation 1 stuff. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Because we were touring the floor. We were trying to find other deals and things like that, because we were still, you know, we walked a lot. I think he said we walked like at least whenever I was with him, about 6 miles. I'm like, holy hell, that was a lot of walk time. So looking through the bins, there was this guy next to me. you know, and we just start talking and things like that. He was looking, I think, for Wii U and Xbox, and I was talking about how I was looking for PlayStation 1, how I was looking for a full set. Again, he didn't know who I was. We were just vibing and geeking out, and we started helping each other look for certain games. You know, he would look in this bin, I would look in this bin. We were working together to look for stuff, and then, funny enough, I ended up finding this stack of PlayStation 1 games just from the bin. This is not PlayStation 1. This was, you know, something else I found on top that I had completely missed somehow. But anyway, he was so gracious and kind to me. We were geeking out, having fun, having laughs. He was such a pleasure to talk to. He's actually made a comment on my video that I did of the TORG thing. So shout out to you, my buddy Matt. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, for doing laughs, for talking with me. That was the highlight of the convention, minus hanging out with my buddy DMC. You were such a delight, and it's such a pleasure to hang out with fellow, you know, video game enthusiasts like myself. That was the one thing that makes me, like I said again in the beginning, want me to do more of these, be more open-minded to it, because I'm not shy, as you can know. My energy is all over the place, but I just never knew how it would be with a video game convention. I never knew how the vendors would be. I never knew how, you know, how the whole atmosphere would be. But now that I've had my first insight on how video game conventions work, I want to go again. And of course, TORG would definitely be my number one choice, because I like the location, I like the people, I like the vendors. It was a vibe in itself. But let's dive in to what I got at this booth. So we'll save that one for last. Let's talk about the $5 bin. So like I said, we were diving, we were digging, we were having fun, and I found several that I did not have, and some that I did have but were upgrades, and I'll explain what that is. So first one we have is Top Gun Fire at Will, and never played this one. Looks cool, and again, I could not believe that these were in the $5 bins, but they were. So I'm like, okay, sweet. Now, Real Fishing I already have, but I have the greatest hits. So this is an upgrade from, you know, green label to black label. You all know me. The only time I really like to collect green label stuff is if it's, you know, a game I like Legend of Dragoon, or, you know, Resident Evil 3. Yes, there is a greatest hits version of RE3 for PS1, but I don't have it yet, but I will eventually get it because I love Resident Evil 3. Now, ODT, Escape or Die Trying. This game's fucking weird. I just recently tried it. I'm like, what the hell is this? You have 4 characters that you could pick as. I really can't describe what this game's honestly like. I thought it was going to be like Gauntlet Legends, but no, it's not. Pretty much you have like powers and you're like, you know, fighting these alien things. And there's like this high frequency noise. I don't know what's happening, but this game can be really hard, so definitely choose the easier difficulty if you're going to play this. And then, of course, Monopoly. This one was an upgrade, again, from the greatest hits to the black label version. So now I'll have, you know, 2 copies of that, which, you know, when it comes to the green label, I've acquired these through different ways. Either Lukey Games has accidentally sent me shit that's green label, which I'm like, okay, or friends have given them to me. So, you know, if friends have given them to me, they're going to stay. And, of course, if it's my favorite game, like LOD, which I have greatest hits of that, too, it stays because I have to have multiple copies of it. Anyway, Arcade Party Pack, because it's a party. It has like several games like Rampage, and then it has like Smash TV, Clax, all kinds of cool stuff. Haven't played this before, so definitely want to do that. And I could have swore there was one more in here. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm missing something somewhere. Oh, never mind, there it is! This wasn't part of the $5 deal. This was something else. So, I was mentioning that I did not have Soul Calibur. This is the only one that I'm missing as far as like Soul Calibur games go. And it didn't have the manual. And I'm like, you know, for $15, I can't say no, because loose, I think this goes for about $20. So with it having, you know, the actual case and the disc being in great shape, $15 is a no-brainer for me. So the guy was doing the calculating and stuff, as you could see. And he like said, you know, let's do 10 to make it 35 for the whole stack. I'm like, done deal. So he was awesome. Shout out to Jesse. He was such a cool guy, such a great vendor. He gave some great deals. He was so wholesome. He was so funny. But I have to say, my time at TORG was epic. So many memories made with so many of y'all, from talking games to just geeking out, trying to game hunt with friends. It was an overall 10 out of 10 experience for me. If you are ever in the Columbus, Ohio area, definitely check out TORG for 2025. But as always, until next time, guys, this is the PlayStation Girl signing out. Game on!